greatest and most beloved of sea captains, faced the same problems as the Admiralty of today, faced them and solved them. Find, fix, and strike. It's said to have been Jackie Fisher's phrase. That's been the problem of the Navy all down the ages. Find your enemy, slow him down by damaging or containing him, then seek him out and destroy him. Find, fix, and strike. Nelson's problem and ours. All the deadly and complex machinery of the mechanized battle fleet of today is there for just that purpose. Of course, the area of war is vaster than it was in Nelson's day. The instruments of war are more powerful and deadly. The strategy is more intricate. But the three tasks of a fighting fleet are still the same. Find, fix, and strike. And the Fleet Air Arm plays a vital and growing part in each of them. The Fleet Air Arm finds the enemy. It's the Navy's eyes. The Fleet Air Arm can often fix him. Remember how aircraft from the Ark Royal fixed the Bismarck till the final blow could be struck by a cruiser. And the Fleet Air Arm takes its full share in the final annihilating stroke. You remember the attack on the Italian battleships in the harbor of Taranto. Well, how are the men of the Fleet Air Arm trained?
One of the first moves in flying training is, of course, he's got to know every type of aircraft backwards. When aircraft are approaching each other at 250 and 300 miles an hour, there isn't time to think. You've got to know every one absolutely spontaneously. Now observers, looking at the spotting table, watching models of ships just the same as they would see them from about 2,000 feet in an aircraft. As they spot the ships, they write down the signal which is sent out and other members of the class are taking it on the radio. Now here he is, just as if he were in an aircraft being wheeled along, reporting home a fleet which he's just caught sight of. An aircraft carrier, a couple of battleships and so on and so forth, and their course and speed. As well as that, they've got to have an expert knowledge of mathematics. And here, straight on to the puff shoot table, where he's learning how to spot the gunfire. 4 over, so and so and so and so, all being signaled back. Now here he's using the ordinary, straightforward navigation board that they use in their aircraft, and a very difficult matter it is, because the navigation there is far more difficult than the one on land. On land, you can always check your position from the roads, things down below, and when you're at sea, you've not only got to plot the enemy's course, you've got to plot your own course, and most important of all, the course of your own ship, your aerodrome, which is moving for the whole number of hours that you're away. One mistake, you come back and the sea's empty, your fuel's running low, and you'll never get out. At last, the great moment arrives when they really get down to the actual work on aircraft. Here's the view on a Fleet Air Arm aerodrome from the top of the control tower, the officer watching out and signaling people to land. While the observers have been learning all about their wireless telegraphy and so on, the pilot has been busy in training types, having dual instruction, learning how to fly. Now here he's getting a signal from the watchtower that it's all right for him to come to land, and he's brought in by the instructor. Jimmy bounces. The instructor telling him to keep his stick forward, ease her back to 3... Oh, he flew right into the ground, did a big bounce, but he settles all right the second time. The instructor's not so happy about that, and they open up, and away they go again for another takeoff and another circuit and come round to land in again. Here he gets a signal again from the control tower. It's all right to come in. This time he's come in very nicely. He's easing the stick back now, and he touches down very nearly a perfect landing with a 3-pointer, as to say, the 2 wheels and the tail skid all in one. There's another 3-pointer, the 2 wheels and the prop boss, but that isn't always so popular. This time he's not taking off for another circuit. He comes up to a standstill, and I think behind he's a little bit surprised. He's been doing circuits all the morning, and he wonders why he's suddenly come to a stop. Ah, here's the reason.
That's fine. Can you do one by yourself?
What, solo, sir?
Why not? Do 1 circuit and 1 landing.
This is the great moment, his first solo. The instructor walks away, he feels kind of lonely, and taking a good look around everything, says, well, here's to it. There's nothing for it now. Down goggles and opens his throttle, and away he goes. And then suddenly, for the first time, finds himself up in the air by himself with nobody to help. It's rather like at first moment when you were taught to ride on a bicycle, you looked around, you find that nobody was holding onto the seat. He's up in the air now, and there's only one way of getting down, and that is to land the machine properly. He feels everything much lighter without the weight of the instructor in front of him. As he looks over, you'll see the dual control stick of the instructor, and there's nobody there to help him. It's up to him alone now to get down. Now, this lad's a little bit overconfident. He thinks if he comes in, I'll show him a thing or two. Yes, you can see it in the expression. He thinks this is all right. This is going to be money for old rope, and I'll show him when I do my first solo. The instructor's watching critically. He's just about as jealous about his performance as the pupil is himself. Yes, everything's going fine. He looks down, and now he's turning into land.
Right.
Hello, what was that? Yes, he looked down and see if the instructor was watching, and sure enough, he nearly flew into the hangar pull right. Now, here he comes around a second time. He's turning into wind, a bit of left bank. Round he goes. You can just see the wind seat on the left-hand side showing which he's now going to fly right into wind. Round he comes. He eases her down. Eases back his throttle. And in he comes for his final approach. He's nicely over the edge of the runway now. Knocked his throttle back. Just keeping her off just a little bit high at first. He's holding her up, and he eases back, and very nearly a perfect landing. Anyhow, it's a jolly good effort for the first solo. And there he is now, and he's saying, thank God I'm down on the ground again. Now, the instructor's equally delighted, and he's going off to congratulate him and give a few final words of advice.
Well, that was a very nice landing. Feel quite happy about it?
Quite happy, sir.
Fine.
After that, there'll be a couple of pints in the mess together that night.
Now, this is Barnes's appointment to his first ship.
And now comes the final stage when they leave their short aerodrome and they're going off for the first effort in the carrier, after which they will form up in an operational flight. They taxi out for the last time with all the last words of the instructor ringing in their ears. Here was their last instructor ashore, giving them the final signal to go off, and good luck to them. Turn round into wind. Down flag, open up throttle, and away goes the first aircraft. There goes the second aircraft, this time an Albacore. The third. Something's gone wrong. It's this fellow Barnes again, overconfident as usual, trying to show off, not obeying the instructions as he should do.
Tell that fool to wake up. Wake up, Barnes. Wake up.
Very rightly, he gets a rasp from the control officer. Now he's off. He opens up his throttle, away he goes, into wind, tearing down the runway. Eases back his stick, he's airborne, and away he's up into the sky. A bit of left rudder, and round he goes, to circle around the aerodrome. He has a final shoot up to show all his pals that he is off at last to his carrier, and then he joins up with the others who are waiting for him, so they fly off to the carrier in formation together. Now, this is a very great moment in any fleet air arm pilot's life. His first approach to the carrier, he's going to have everybody watching him, and he's desperately keen. He's going to put up a good show on this, his first deck landing in the real way. Here they are now approaching the carrier, flying out. They're leaving the land. They're over the water. He looks down, and he gets his first sight through the clouds of the carrier waiting down there below. And after the size of the aerodrome, believe me, she looks mighty small. There she is, that tiny deck, which is much bigger when you come down close to it from the top. It looks an absurd little thing to land on. Having sighted the aircraft approaching, the commander says, stand by to land on. Here's a steam jet right at the head of the carrier, which is there to show them when they're eventually into wind. The navigators bring the ship round into wind, and he sees smoke coming out of the funnel, and it's desperately important there should be no smoke at all, because they'd only give a big bump over the stern as they come in to land on, and so there's an immediate signal down to the engine room, stop smoke. And the smoke finishes, and the ship is turning into wind, and the steam jet is now flowing down the middle. Commander flying, when everything's ready, the ship's up to the proper speed, there's the right wind speed over the deck, has a signal put out for the particular squadron to break up and form up in the landing position, which is flying around the ship. As the signal goes out, and also with it the first affirmative, they break up and stand by to land on. The first one to land on this case will be the leader, who is probably an old experienced hand. And the others fly around watching anxiously to see how he pulls it off. There they are now, flying down towards the carrier into the landing on position. All determined to put up a good show. Barnes again sucking to a bit of overconfidence. As he comes down, he goes down to shoot up the carrier. He sails down the side of her. This is disobeying all orders, but we'll get aroused later on. So he's one of that type, and he watches his leader go on nicely, comfortably, and he thinks, well, that's too easy. He flies on round, and now the affirmative goes out again. It's his turn to have a crack. There's a nice steep turn round. The other machine's just gone down the lift. You can see the holes in the deck. By the time he comes onto the deck, it looks to be up. He turns too steep, tries to straighten up, to immediately wade round by the deck off, so it is just as it should be, because he was drifting as he came on, would have caught the wires and probably gone over the side. He shoots on the ship again to come out to the stern, to come into landing on position, and waits for more signals before he makes his second attempt. The bat's off where he's got a difficult person to deal with, and he's going to give him all the help he can. Here he is now approaching the ship, and this time he's nicely down the center line, flying straight into wind and not drifting. This looks much better. Let's shut off the engine, he obeys the instructions, and there he is down as safe as anything with the tail skid caught in the rest of the wire. And he's achieved his first deck landing.
That's a martlet circling, one of the newest American types. We don't call any British bird a martlet nowadays, but if I'm not mistaken, Shakespeare speaks of the temple-haunting martlet, meaning, I think, the house martin. Anyhow, the carrier is this martlet's temple, and here in its temple, the martlet of today is being serviced by one of its attendants. There's a swordfish landing on the aircraft carrier. She's done her day's work, and she's going down in the lifts. There's a petty officer directing the traffic. The wings of the plane are being folded. Down she goes into the hangar below deck. Well, now here we are in the early hours of next morning. The aircraft's going to be ranged up on deck several hours before daylight, and the first aircraft is taken off to be right out in position hundreds of miles ahead of the carrier and the fleet by the time of first light to be able to get the first glance of the enemy. Here's Barnes in the cockpit. You're going to see something with his observant leverage air gunner behind, with all eyes searching the horizon for any signs of
off enemy ships. So far it's been a dull patrol and there's been nothing in sight. They're just about to turn away to go back to the carrier when suddenly he sees something. Yes, there they are, the dots on the horizon, and by Jove, they're enemy ships. They look very like he saw them, if you remember, right up in the board when he was training at the observer. Takes a quick bearing, just as he did when he's being wheeled along in the training school, marks it down on the plot, gets the course, signals it back to the carrier, receives it immediately, and the shout goes round, up striking force.
The enemy's found. Now comes the fixing. Everybody drops what he's doing, a rush for the torpedoes, pilots get their brief, out comes the swordfish.
Nobody's job is more important than the people, the torpedomen who look after these torpedoes. These delicate instruments have got to be dropped into the water at great speed, and if one little thing goes wrong, the torpedo has an unhealthy run, the whole of the pilot's job and his life is going to be risked in vain. Here the torpedoes being rushed along the flying deck. They can't be kept there beforehand because they've been in danger from enemy bombing.
The flag officer's ready. Flag officer lets the first plane go.
All right.
This one isn't loaded with torpedoes. He's got bombers on, he's going on ahead. An anti-submarine patrol and the striking force will be following in a second. The escorting destroyer goes around to take up a position. This is the great moment that every fleet air-armed pilot has been waiting for. That first moment when the striking force goes off and they can do the job which they've been training for continuously all these months.
Find, fix and strike. They've found the enemy, and soon the air will be humming with planes as they set out to fix him. And if they succeed, if their torpedoes slow him down so that the fleet can overtake and strike him, the fleet air arm will doubtless play a decisive part in the fight which follows. Find, fix and strike. The logbook records boldly that 2 squadrons are off on their great adventure, your son or mine, my brother or yours. May they be worthy of the tradition of Nelson, and one day write in that logbook a page worthy of Trafalgar.